What's up, everybody? Welcome to Move the Sticks. DJ, Bucky, Rhett with you, boys. What is going on?
Yo, let's get this thing going. We got a game day. Come on.
Wow, this is game day, Buck. You ready to roll?
I am absolutely ready to roll. I love this.
I did, by the way. I read some of the reviews the other day, and one of the listeners didn't like me going for 10 minutes on Buck's high school team and wanting to get previews and what's going on there. So the way I looked at that was that's only one person who didn't like it. I assume the other thousands and thousands and thousands of listeners were digging it. Buck, who do we have this week? How are we looking?
Good game this week is a rivalry week. It's Palisades. So the city of LA is pulling for Palisades, and so we become the evil empire against Pally this week down in Santa Monica College.
Here we go.
Is that where they're playing their games now?
That's where they're going to play some of their home games. Yeah, so they're going to play some of them at Santa Monica College, and I think they're going to bounce around some other places to play their home games.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't even know if I can go on record and say I'm rooting for you in that one. That's tough.
Yeah, I know. We're the bad guy. We're the Washington Generals showing up. You know, we're the firefighters for the Savannah Bananas.
Fins up, I think, in this one, right? Are they the Dolphins or some sort of sea?
No, they are the Dolphins. They are the Dolphins.
Go Fins. Fins up.
Oh, there you go. Go Fins. All right, we've got a big game tonight. Let's start there. Dallas, Philly. Buck, as you look at this Dallas team minus Micah Parsons, and keep in mind last year you got the Dak injuries, so he didn't get a chance to see the Philadelphia Eagles. They got smashed twice by Philly in those two games. But looking at how they match up, you giving Dallas a fighting chance here?
I'm giving them a fighting chance just because you never know in the NFL. Every game tends to be a 7-point game. The reason why I give them a fighting chance is on offense. Like, they're locked and loaded in terms of on the perimeter. George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, Jake Ferguson, they have enough there. It really depends on if they're able to run the football effectively where they can play keep away. I think the big thing for the Cowboys has to be managing the game and controlling the game. Can they control the game? So I'm looking at time of possession. They need to have a decided edge there. And then red zone efficiency. They got to get 7s. They cannot settle for 3s.
Yeah, I'm just really intrigued as to what this is going to look like, right? I mean, like, we've talked about this for the last 2 years. You know, Brian Schottenheimer's been the offensive coordinator in Dallas, but he's been handing off the play sheet to Mike McCarthy to call it on game days. So, you know, what kind of spin does he really put on this thing now that he's got, you know, full reins to do it and still calling the plays the first time head coach? You know, I think will be another interesting thing to follow. But Dak's been really good, you know, since Shotty's come around there, and now you add in Pickens, as you guys are talking about there, Buck. I'm just like, what does this run game look like against a dominant front? And then how can they keep Dak clean against this dominant edge group that did, you know, lose some faces that got after, you know, Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl a year ago, but we're going to see more of Jalen Hunt, you know, this year. We'll see, you know, more of some of those rotational guys. So that's something that I'm going to be watching for in particular. And then, you know, can the Cowboys stop Saquon Barkley from dominating the game? I think is obviously one of the biggest storylines.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay on the Cowboys side of things first of all here. They like their offensive line, and they feel like they're going to be able to run the football this year. They've invested a lot in that group. Tyler Booker, it mentioned, you know, right when he got there that the team he was looking forward to playing against was the Philadelphia Eagles, and the player he was looking forward to going up against was Jalen Carter. And I'm sure that's some Alabama, Georgia stuff that you connect there with those guys. But they're not going to be timid or shy about wanting to come in there and run the ball. I'm curious to see how Dak moves around. He's had so many lower body injuries, you know, from the ankle to the hamstring, all that stuff. How does he move? Is he going to be stationary back there? If that's the case, I don't love that. But if they can get out there, establish the run, if they can move the launch point around with him a little bit, they are really, really going to be good after the catch. CeeDee Lamb is awesome with the ball in his hands. If they can get some quick hitters out to him, let him make plays with the ball in his hands. And then to me, George Pickens, I mean, Buck, he only has to hit 1 or 2. You know, you hit 1 or 2 shots to George Pickens, that loosens it up for the run game. That helps everything. Jaden Blue is one, you know, from a draft situation I loved because of his juice, his explosiveness, and his mismatch ability in the pass game out of the backfield. I mean, you talk about athletic linebackers. We'll get to the Eagles and the group that they have in a minute. But I think offensively, I think the Cowboys can stay in this thing. I actually do.
Yeah, look, I think it's about their offense controlling the game. Their offense will be their best defense. And It has to be about control. And then I would say defensively for the Cowboys is conceding yards between the 20s and then being really good in the red zone. If you think about Matt Eberflus and how they want to play, I would anticipate them being a heavy Tampa 2 team, ball in front, bogging down. And then when you get to the 20s, that's when the field begins to add additional defenders to the group. If they can get it that style and take it to the fourth quarter and then see if Dak Prescott can seal the deal, that is the best course of action for the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, and look, I think, obviously not having Parsons on the edge is going to hurt you in trying to get after Jalen Hurts here. But I think having Kenny Clark in the interior is actually a pretty big improvement from where they were. Haven't really seen that out of Mozzie Smith yet. Their first round pick 2 years ago. And in a game like this against Saquon Barkley, I think that could give them a little bit of a lift here.
I know one thing. UCLA could use Kenny Clark and Odigizua back right now after watching them the other night.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, they wouldn't mind. Those two, I don't think they have a lot of guys like those two guys for the Dallas Cowboys, former Bruins out there running around. Secondary for me, I think they're going to be better against the run. They can't be worse. So, and I think the guys they have on the edge, like Marshawn Nealon is a rugged physical player. He's a rock who can set the edge. He's got length. He plays with leverage. So, I mean, those guys, you've got Dante Fowler, Sam Williams, more of a fastball. But they do have guys that can set a physical edge. And that's not something that Jerry pointed out. It's not something that Micah Parsons is really known for. So I do think they can be a little bit firm. They're going to be better against the run. It's just going to be a matter of can they hold up in the back end is going to be my question.
Trevon Diggs looks like he's on track to go. And Deron Bland just got the contract extension. So, I mean, it's been a while since both those guys were healthy and on the field together. Stay away from the double moves. And it sounds like, Trevon Diggs is going to be all right. We'll see.
Well, I think a couple of things why it's important for Deron Bland and Trevon Diggs being in this defense. I think schemes really can elevate players. And this scheme is a see ball, get ball scheme. So rather than playing
see the ball.
a bunch of man-to-man, they can play more zone and more eyes. And these guys are terrific in terms of catching the ball. Their ball skills will probably be their best qualities. Well, now you give them more opportunities in zone coverage to make plays on tips and overthrows. You should see the best of them as opposed to some of the man coverage they were doing in previous schemes.
How about the Eagles side of this thing, Buck?
I mean, they're good. If the Eagles show up, roll the balls out, and don't mess it up, they're going to win the game. I think the hardest thing when you're the better team, and I'm saying that, and you can be mad at me, Cowboys fans, but the Eagles are the better team. Well, the only way that the Cowboys can win is if the Eagles give them things. So my focus and emphasis, if I'm Nick Sirianni, take care of the ball. Let's make sure we don't turn the ball over. Let's make sure we get alignment, assignment, and all that right. And then let's impose our will on this team over 4 quarters. Their offensive line should be able to control the trenches. And then defensively, it's the same thing. As much as we talk about the Cowboys' offensive line, that Jalen Carter is a problem. And sometimes you ask for what you want up front. So we're going to see what it looks like for Jalen Carter at the point of attack. Yep. But if I'm the Eagles, this is one where, hey, man, we don't need our A game, but we need to be solid. B plus, A minus game is more than enough for the Eagles to walk through the Cowboys and get that first dub.
Yep. Offensive line looks like it's going to be intact. Looks like Landon Dickerson going to be able to go there, which is great news. I think the saga of like the Dallas Goedert thing is going to be interesting in this one. Wasn't sure whether he was going to be around, for this team, following last season. I think if you're talking about a zone heavy team in the way that Matt Eberflus wants to play defense for the Cowboys, I think this could be a pretty decent game for Dallas Goedert to find some opportunities here and see how that kind of moves the needle forward. As the number 3 option, or do we see more Jahan Dotson than we did recently? As a third wide receiver option, but that part, and then obviously Saquon's usage in the pass game would be something I'm watching.
So that you got me to my guy that I'm going to keep an eye on this game. It's maybe a little obscure when you're looking at players, but this is a guy I've got my eye on is Will Shipley, and the reason I've got my eye on Will Shipley is
my guy.
No, he's my guy.
Bucky loved him going through the draft process, but Kenneth Gainwell, was underrated player, is no longer there. And when you have the unbelievable year that Saquon had, man, that was a lot of usage. And if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, the only thing that determines whether this is a successful season or not is whether they hoist the Lombardi trophy. I don't think you can ride Saquon like that through another full 17 games. They're going to have to kind of break that up a little bit with some other guys. You've got A.J. Dillon there, but to me, Shipley, he's capable of popping one and getting a home run in the run game, but also someone who, can get out there and catch the ball and be involved in the pass game. So can you preserve Saquon? Obviously, he's still going to be a focal point of this offense, but does the level drop when he comes off the field? It's going to drop, but can you get some plays? Can you get a couple explosives out of Will Shipley in this game? That's kind of my obscured name to watch in this contest for the Eagles.
Like that one. Yeah. I mean, I think he's shown some explosiveness on special teams at times. And I think we've seen him in last 2 preseasons with some flash plays. So I think that one's definitely one to watch because Gainwell did have a pretty specific role there and performed it pretty dang well. Yeah, that's definitely one I'm curious about. I think the running back committee, like who stands out, in Dallas also. I think both those. Yeah. It's actually pretty interesting to watch.
On the Eagles' defensive side of the ball, I mean, I'm looking at it, and Buck, we talked about this not too long ago, but I mean, goodness gracious. Jordan Davis is young. Jalen Carter's young. Nolan Smith's young. Jahad Campbell playing next to Zach Bond. Jahad's young. Jalix Hunt starting. He's young. Keely Ringo's young. I mean, on and on. Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean are both in their second. I mean, this is a Super Bowl winning team. They're all pups. Like these guys haven't even matured yet.
No, they haven't. And they're so young and dynamic. And Vic Fangio's done a really good job of getting those guys up to speed. And as they settle in and gain more experience, it's really going to unlock Vic Fangio to do more tricks and things to really disrupt the timing and rhythm of the passing game while also stuffing the run. I'm excited to see what the next step looks like because typically most players make the biggest jump in their games from the first year to the second year. So that bodes well for the Eagles in the back end because Quinion Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, those guys are going to be much better versions of themselves in year 2.
Yeah, I'd second that. I think you covered that. But I am curious to see, what Jahad Campbell does here and like what kind of impact he can have on the ball. I mean, obviously Bond was everywhere and everything to everyone on that defense a year ago. And what a great influence, to have. Obviously, Jahad was kind of war daddy already. I think we knew that coming out of Alabama. But I mean, great influence to have, sitting next to him on that second level and maybe letting him kind of just go play a little bit and let Bond handle, most of that heavy work in terms of getting things set up. I think will be really, really useful.
They both have similar tracks as players too, on the ball guys.
Yeah.
And off the ball guys.
Yep.
So you've got the dynamic blitzing capabilities, but the athleticism to be able to run and cover. I mean, it's going to be that might be the most fun off the ball linebacker pairing in the NFL this year to watch how these guys play off of one another. So I think the Eagles defense is going to be outstanding. We don't have to pick games here. Games. I don't really care about that, but I'm looking for, I think it's going to be a little close and then the Eagles kind of they'll pull away late here. All right, let's take a quick break. There is another game which I will be at in Brazil. That is the Chiefs and the Chargers, who always play close games. So we'll dig into that game right after this. All right, guys. Well, this will be a fun one. Friday Night Football on YouTube TV. So we can check that one out. Looking forward to being there in Brazil. It's going to be an awesome atmosphere. When you look at the Chiefs and the Chargers, they're always close games. The Chiefs always seem to have a drive late that's in them. We talked about on the Top 100 show the other day, Buck, about Patrick Mahomes, 17-0 in his last one-possession games, which is just insane. That's just ridiculous. So that tells me the Chargers, if they're going to win this game, they need to get out to a lead and hold it.
Yeah, they have to get out to a lead and hold it. But I think that's how the Chargers want to play anyway. Amari Hampton being able to step into that lead back role. And I know Najee.
Let's go rookie draft.
But like Amari Hampton should be able to kind of help them salt some of these games away as they begin to kind of jump out and hold on. I want to see what Justin Herbert looks like. He got that old slipper back, Keenan Allen coming back. I don't know what his expectation is going to be, but I just think that this offense, if they can play ball control and keep away, they have it. As much as we love the Kansas City Chiefs, I can't fully say that I'm convinced that their offense is upgraded. I kind of need to see it to believe it. So how does Patrick Mahomes play better and more efficient with the cast of characters that are around him? That is, to me, the million-dollar question when it comes to how well the Kansas City Chiefs play and how fast they get out when it comes to the 2025 campaign.
Keenan Allen, he got voted a captain, didn't he? It's like back for like
I thought it was as a like
he's
a reserve captain. Was that what it was?
one of the what in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of just clear that it was like he's back and like almost like nothing happened. Like he didn't leave.
I'm looking at this game and getting ready for it and preparing for it. And McConkey missed one of those games last year, and the one he did play, he had a touchdown. He had 5 for 87, something like that.
Yeah.
But I was thinking this is the easiest marketing opportunity of all time. Like McDuffie versus McConkey. McDonald's sponsors it. The winner gets like a Happy Meal on the field after the game. Buck. I mean, like this is
a little bit of a lean towards McDuffie and the Mickey D.
Yeah, Mickey D. Yeah, but still the Mac. You could have the Big Mac.
Big Mac for sure.
So it all ties in there. But that might be. I mean, especially if they can get if McDuffie's going to spend more time in the slot here. After spending a lot more time outside last year, I'm curious to see what his usage looks like. But if McConkey's in there in the slot, that would be that's good on that's might be best on best in terms of who the toughest cover is right now. I don't know if there's a tougher cover in the slot than McConkey, and McDuffie's as good as it gets in there.
I would agree. And the thing I think when you look at the numbers of this, Herbert and the Chargers against the Chiefs, just one win, right? In 8 opportunities. But he's had pretty good numbers. They haven't scored a ton. I mean, they're averaging 21 points a game in those 8 games against the Chiefs that Herbert has started. 17 touchdowns, 6 giveaways. And the Chiefs are averaging just over 25 points. So traditionally, it's been a pretty close game in a lot of ways, right? But how would you describe, DJ, having seen all those up close and personal, Herbert's role in finding a way for the Chargers to win?
Yeah, I mean it's just been tough. Even like last year, I believe I'm get all these games all start to run together.
Yeah.
Like they have a drive, they go take the lead with like 3 minutes left. And it's like did his job. Unfortunately, there's too much time left on the clock for that guy, and then Mahomes does his thing, and then the game's over. So they've had these moments where they've had a chance to kind of seize control of a game early, and then they've stalled out. And then one of them, notoriously, they went for it a bunch on 4th down, and they got, and Brandon Staley got criticized for being too aggressive. And the Chiefs come back and win that game and so forth. So they've just haven't been able to finish. I go back to the Mexico City game. I think this might even have been Rivers. I don't think this was pre Herbert. This was Rivers. But like Mahomes converts like a 3rd and 20 something with his legs. Like it hasn't been about what the Chargers have done or not done. It's just been that one guy in that one moment. They haven't been able to stop him. So that's why I keep coming back to if the Chargers are going to finally beat these guys, they're going to have to go out there and get 7s, not 3s, get out there and score a bunch of points early, build up a lead, which is not easy to do against this awesome Chiefs defense.
Yeah.
And then you hold on for dear life. But you don't want to be, 17-0. You don't want to be in a 1-possession game with these guys.
Right. How does a player like Dion Henley kind of help you in some of those Mahomes freestyle situations as he kind of continues his development?
Yeah, I think he's going to be not only like a Pro Bowl level linebacker, I think he'd be an all-pro level linebacker. And is a former safety, he can run all day long. Yeah. Drew Tranquill on the other side for Kansas City's former safety. The Chargers kind of had this type that they've drafted where, they found guys who could really, really run, transition them to linebackers. And Dion Henley is because you have to cover the second play with Mahomes. And he's gonna be able to shoot
the second 3 seconds.
Go get him. Go try and get him. The challenge has been that they play a lot of zone coverage, and when you play zone coverage, Travis Kelce, that's just like a morning snack for him. That's just like a nice little bowl of cereal for him. So I'd be curious to see if they try. If you don't get hands on him, Buck, you don't get hands on Kelce. I don't care if he's 55 years old. You don't get hands on him at the line of scrimmage. You're playing zone coverage. He's going to get open.
Yeah, look, the freestyle route runner that Travis Kelce is, he does a great job of finding those soft spots in zone. And they have a synergy and a connection where they just kind of know where everyone is going to be. And if you're not able to not only get hands on Travis, but pressure on the quarterback, well, then they're just waiting. And you just cannot cover what no one knows is going to happen in terms of like their spontaneous route running and connection. So if you're the Chargers, you want to keep an eye on him. You want to know where 87 is at all times, but you still got to find a way to mix and match the pressures to make sure that Pat Mahomes is not comfortable.
They got to figure out a plan for Chris Jones too, because he's going to be over Trey Pipkins, who's filling in at right tackle with Rashawn Slater gone. Joe Alt kicks over to left. I don't even worry about Joe Alt on the left side, but Pipkins is going to need some help when Jones gets over there.
Yeah, I would say the same. If we could flip over to Chiefs offensive side for a second. Yeah. Thinking about Xavier Worthy in year 2 has me pretty excited based off what we kind of saw from him second half of the season. His targets per game went up, receptions per game went up. They were finding ways to get him the ball. I had 6 touchdowns in the final from like week 11 on, including the Super Bowl. But I mean, think about this offense last year and like 3 primary pieces to start the season that we had, expected, right? It was Isaiah Pacheco, Rashee Rice, and Hollywood Brown. Well, Pacheco missed 10 games. Rashee Rice missed 13. Hollywood Brown missed 15. It's like we still really haven't seen like what that is going to look like with Xavier Worthy out there as well. Like I think we got a little bit excited about the Chiefs bringing speed back, last year, not just with Worthy but with Hollywood, and then Rashee, had shown that he was such a good. He's going to miss some time again this year, obviously with the suspension, but. I'm just kind of I still have like a level of intrigue as to what it looks like with Hollywood and with Xavier Worthy when those guys are really going.
I think it's a left tackle, man. I think one of the reasons why they haven't been able to be explosive is because their tackles have stunk. Yeah. And they go out and get, you could say it, he's the most talented tackle in the draft. When he's healthy and on the field, Simmons is just flat out. His tape was better than everybody else's.
He was starting day 1 at camp too, and not having to deal with the injury was massive.
No, so he recovered much faster than I think a lot of people anticipated he would. So he's in there at left tackle. That's a massive upgrade for me. Jawan Taylor still, I think there's some vulnerability there on that right side, but even just fixing one side, Andy Reid's so smart. He can help on one side. It's just hard when you get both tackles getting their butts kicked. But you talk about the fun first matchup. Josh Simmons, I think about the connections, Buck. I was thinking about Simmons, Ohio State. Remember Khalil Mack's coming out party in college? It was when they went to Ohio State and he tore them a new one in that one. So maybe he just got to tell Khalil Mack, you just got to just put the picture of him with the Buckeye helmet on. And then he can kind of just envision that and pretend he's back at Buffalo. Go get him. So that'll be a great matchup, though. I'm looking forward to seeing that. And for the Kansas City offense, the other thing I'm looking at with them, with Xavier Worthy, they hit a big home run ball against the Chargers at SoFi last year. And I know, Rhett, you've talked about the explosiveness and the offensive line has to hold up to be able to push that ball vertically down the field. What can they do to manipulate some of this shell coverage? Can they get extra tight ends out there? Can they manipulate the formation and then just maybe you don't have both those speed guys out there, but one of them, so that you can just take your shots? That offense to me is so much more fun when there's 4 of those shots a game, and they just haven't been able to really do that.
The coverage part of it, you're right in terms of being able to manipulate it, because you do want to get the home run stuff. Some of that is by motioning and shifting. Some of that is by being able to run the football effectively, to force people to get out of it. But a lot of it depends on the patience of both play callers. Are you patient enough as a defensive coordinator to be like, yeah, cool, you can have all the running yards that you want. We're going to sit in this shell coverage. And then are you patient as an offensive coordinator to be like, oh, I'm going to take it. I'm going to keep taking this. And at some point, it's a battle of wills. And who's going to be the first one to blink? That's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to it. Should be an awesome atmosphere there in Brazil. Can't wait for this game. So appreciate you guys hanging with us today. That's just 2 games. We'll be back and we'll have another episode where we're going to give you some things to look forward to in the rest of these matchups on week 1 of the NFL season. We've got you covered right here on Move the Sticks.